Listen well, my child, for this is not a story meant to rush past the ears like roadside wind. It is the kind of story that sits with you long after the night has gone quiet. It is the kind elders lower their voices for, the kind women sigh over, the kind that begins not with love but with regret. Because some tears do not fall loudly, they drip slowly, silently, into the corners of a woman's life until one day she wakes up and realizes she has been crying for months without knowing when it began. This is the story of such a woman. Her name was Morayo. In the city where she lived, a city of restless traffic, hawkers' shouts, generator hums, and prayers floating from mosques and churches before dawn, Morayo was known as that girl with sense. Not only because she was beautiful, though beauty followed her like a shadow, but because she carried herself with quiet intention. She spoke carefully, she listened deeply, she had plans folded neatly inside her heart, plans that stretched far beyond wedding colors and bridal trains. Morayo believed in love, yes, but she believed even more in building a life that would not collapse under its own weight. She was the kind of woman mothers pointed at during family gatherings and said, "See her, that's how to raise a daughter." She had finished school despite strikes and setbacks. She worked in a small but growing consulting firm, wore her ambition modestly and sent money home when she could without announcing it. Yet, no matter how high a woman climbs, society still looks at her feet and asks, "When will you kneel?" Morayo was 28 when the whispers began to thicken. At first, they came softly, like jokes wrapped in laughter. "So, Morayo, when will we drink your own wine? Don't let all these degrees chase away husbands, oh. Career is good, but a woman's crown is her home." She smiled through them. She laughed when expected. She brushed them off with grace. But even grace, when stretched too thin, begins to tear. Her mother never pressured her openly. That woman had seen too much of life to use force where patience could work. But silence can be louder than shouting. Whenever Morayo visited home, her mother would pause a second too long when she saw wedding photos on television. She would sigh while folding clothes. She would say things like, "God will do it," without being asked any question. And Morayo heard. It was around this time that Kunle entered her life. If charm were rain, Kunle would be a storm. If words were palm wine, his flowed sweet and intoxicating. They met at a friend's engagement party held in a rented hall where the air smelled of perfume, jollof rice and ambition. Morayo had gone reluctantly, tired from work, planning to leave early. Kunle noticed her immediately, not just because of her beautiful face, but because she stood apart from the noise, observing rather than performing. He approached her like a man who knew himself. "You look like someone who is counting exits," he said with a smile. She laughed. "And you look like someone who enjoys watching people," she replied. From that moment, conversation came easily. Kunle spoke with confidence, not arrogance. He talked about business, about plans, about how Nigeria was hard but not impossible. He listened when Morayo spoke, nodding thoughtfully, asking questions that made her feel seen. He dressed well, smelled good, and had that dangerous ability to make uncertainty sound like vision. When he asked for her number, she hesitated only briefly. What harm could be there? The courtship was swift but intense. Kunle called often, sometimes too often, but he framed it as concern. If she didn't pick up, he would ask later, half jokingly, "Are you already forgetting me?" If she went out with friends, he wanted to know who was there, where they sat, and when she returned. At first, Morayo felt cherished. It felt good to be wanted so clearly, so loudly, in a world where everything else demanded patience. But small discomforts began to show themselves early, like cracks on a wall freshly painted. Kunle spoke dismissively about women who were too independent. He complained about his exes with bitterness that lingered too long. He had big plans but vague details. He hated being questioned, even gently. Sometimes when Morayo disagreed with him, he would laugh and say, "You like to argue. A woman should know when to rest." She noticed. She always noticed, but she explained them away. "He's just passionate. He has been hurt before. No one is perfect." And there was the pressure, the subtle but constant ticking of time. Friends get getting engaged, cousins posting baby bumps, church announcements ringing louder every Sunday. When Kule began to speak of marriage barely 6 months into the relationship, Morayo's heart raised, not with certainty but with fear. Fear of choosing wrong, fear of choosing late, and fear of being alone. Her closest friend Shade was the first to speak plainly. Morayo, she said one evening as they sat in traffic, windows down, sweat on their brows, "I know you like him, but do you trust him?" Morayo frowned. "Of course I trust him." Shade did not argue. She only said, "Just listen to yourself. You explain him a lot." That night, Morayo could not sleep. Her aunt, a woman hardened by years of marriage and survivor, offered different advice. "Men are not angels," she said, pounding pepper in the kitchen. "If you are waiting for perfect, you will grow old in your father's house. Marriage is endurance. Love will come." Endurance. That word settled heavily in Morayo's chest. And then there was Mama Tola, the elderly woman who lived downstairs, who sold provisions and watched life pass from behind her counter. One evening, as Morayo helped her arrange goods, Mama Tola said quietly, "My daughter, when a shoe pinches you during the fitting, it will wound you when you walk long distances." Morayo laughed awkwardly. "Kule is not a shoe, Mama." Mama Tola smiled sadly. "No, he is a road, and some roads look smooth only from afar." Still, Kule proposed, not with fireworks or grand gestures, but with urgency. "My parents are asking questions," he said. "I don't want to waste time. We know each other enough." Enough. Morayo's heart hesitated. Her intuition whispered, softly but persistently, like a drum beat behind a song, "Wait. Look again. Ask other questions." But fear shouted louder. And love, real or imagined, wrapped fear in hope. She said yes, the wedding was beautiful. It always is. Colors, music, laughter, advice raining like confetti. "Be patient, respect your husband. No marriage is easy. Do not bring issues outside." Morayo glowed, but beneath the makeup, something inside her remained tensed, as if bracing. Marriage did not reveal its truth immediately. It never does. It arrives gently, like harmattan dust, settling slowly until one day you can't breathe properly. Within 3 months, Kule changed. Not dramatically, not suddenly, subtly. He began to control money, insisting it was for planning. He criticized Morayo's cooking, her dressing, her tone. He questioned her work hours. He accused her of disrespect when she defended herself. Arguments ended with silence that stretched for days. When she cried, he called it manipulation. When she stayed quiet, he called it sulking. The man who once listened now interrupted. The man who once praised now belittled. Morayo began to shrink. She told no one at first. African women are taught early that marriage is not a place for weakness. She smiled at gatherings. She posted nothing. She endured. Until one night, sitting alone in their bedroom, listening to Kunle snore peacefully after calling her useless hours earlier, Morayo felt something break, not loudly, but completely. She realized she had been warned again and again by friends, by elders, by her own spirit, and she had chosen not to listen because she was afraid, because she was tired, because society told her it was better to endure wrongly than to wait rightly. Regret came not as a scream, but as a deep, quiet knowing, a knowing that her life had turned on a decision she had rushed. Knowing that love is not proven by endurance of pain. Knowing that marriage does not correct what courtship revealed. Morayo would find her way, yes. Wisdom often comes with scars. That is another story. This one ends here with a woman sitting in the quiet, finally listening to herself. And the lesson, my child, is not that love is dangerous. It is that ignoring truth is. And that's where today's tale ends. But the wisdom lives on. If you felt the lesson in this story, like, comment, and subscribe. And join me next time when the fire burns again for another tale.